Hey, and welcome to my top 10 most anticipated games coming out at Gen Con 2017. Hey, I'm Chris, and as I mentioned, this is obviously my most anticipated games coming out at Gen Con this year. Board Game Geek put together a convention preview software, I don't know what it is, I guess not software, site, that made my job so much easier because I didn't have to make a separate geek list and go through it. You should definitely go check it out if you haven't already. There's a link in the description below to it. You can organize all sorts of different ways, like games for sale that are under 30 minutes and under $20 or whatever, if you only play games that cost under $20 and play in under 30 minutes. On that list, I have over 50 games that I was interested in, so if you're interested in kind of a broader range, go check that out. Caveats about the games that made my list: they have to be for sale, so I'm not including games for demo on my list. They can't have been on my Origins list, that I'll link below as well if you're interested at what I was excited about a couple months at Origins. And there are no expansions on this list, it's only standalone games, and all of my little descriptions will be very quick, just kind of little bites about what I find interesting about them, so you can get in and get out real quick, and then go check out more information if you want it. Alright, on to the games. My number 10 game is Mini Park. This is a Taiwanese game that came out at the Tokyo Game Market a couple months back. It's a tile laying game where you're building a park. It has these hex tiles that you're trying to, line up in certain ways so that you can build a nice playground area or whatever. You also have character pieces that you place on the board in various ways. It looks like a pretty standard tile laying game, but I think the thing that's attracting me the most is the really flat art style. I really like kind of the look of the game. So hopefully it's a good tile laying game, because I'm a big fan of tile laying games. Number 9 is Red Scare. This is coming out from Pandasaurus Games. This is a really interesting, smart, clever social deduction game where your FBI agent's trying to suss out like communists trying to invade America or whatever. But there are some double agents, so you're trying to figure out who they are. And you're looking at information coming in through various channels in the country, but you have these, like, the red glasses, like the decoder glasses that you would get in, like, cereal boxes or whatever. You have decoder glasses, so when you're looking at it, only the people wearing glasses can see some of the information, so you're not even sure if somebody's lying when they're saying that it's got communist stuff on it, communist stuff, or not. So it's a really interesting, really clever way to integrate kind of a new idea into a classic social deduction style game. So excited about this one. Number 8 is Custom Heroes from AEG. This is playing on their card crafting system that they debuted at Gen Con last year with Mystic Vale, I believe. And it's the card crafting system. Basically, there are transparent plastic cards that have little information that can kind of overlap on other cards that you put inside a sleeve, so you can change the information on a card, basically. Like, now this one has a power of 5 instead of 3 because I overlaid it, type thing. It was a really clever idea. I think they kind of missed it a little bit on Mystic Vale because there wasn't enough content in the base game. It was a really interesting idea, but it kind of fell a little bit flat for me, so I'm hoping that they kind of, with this new game, Custom Heroes, can really use that mechanic or technique or whatever it is to its fullest. This is going to be a trick-taking game, so you're going to be changing, I guess, the values or what cards do, but then they still get shuffled up and go to other players, so I'm not sure how they incentivize you to make anything good ever if it doesn't matter and if it's going to someone else, but I don't know. It's interesting. It's got a fun kind of look to it, like very Japanese-inspired, not like Japanese traditional, Japanese pop-inspired, anime-inspired look to it. So yeah, really excited about checking this one out. Number 7 is Seikatsu, sticking with the Japanese look games. This is coming from IDW Games. This is a really interesting tile-laying game where you're trying to build the most beautiful view of a garden from your pagoda, I guess. It scores in several different ways with tile-laying games, but the most interesting thing is the in-game scoring is all handled by your perspective. So you're trying to get, like, rows, or I guess columns? I think columns, from how you're looking at a thing, so yours will be different than, how someone looking at it from a different angle will be. So that's a really, like, crunchy, brain-burny puzzle where you're like, I need to get this in my row. Oh, no, but I don't want that in their row. So hopefully it's not too brain-burny, but I really like games with very simple mechanics where it's just place a tile. But they have, like, a lot of strategic depth with a lot of different things going on. So yeah, and obviously incredibly beautiful game as well. Number 6 is Codenames Duet. This is the 2-player co-op version of the smash hit Codenames that came out a couple years back. I got a chance to test it out at Origins. It's really clever Basically, if you're familiar with Codenames, which you probably are, there's a person giving a clue. In this game, both players are giving clues to each other, and they're both working with the same 25 card board. So you've got the like clue card that shows you what cards you're trying to get them to guess, but it's double-sided, so your partner is trying to also get you to guess certain ones. And some of your clues overlap, where you're both trying to get each other to guess them. Some of them don't overlap. I think there's more than one assassin. I can't remember how many. I think it's called an assassin. Anyways, it's really clever. I wasn't expecting much from it. I was expecting just another Codenames for 2 players, but there's some like different strategy in this one, and it felt fresh and fun and clever, and Codenames is great. So yeah, excited about this one. Number 5 is number 9, which is a confusing sentence. Is that a whole sentence? It's confusing words to say in a row. This is a tile stacking game. I got to check it out at BGG Spring. Z-Man is bringing it over, and I think it's being American domestic released here. In it, you're stacking these colorful tiles that are sort of the shapes of numbers, and everyone is working from the same thing. So like you'll flip a card over and it'll say everyone has to stack the 9. And then you pick where to stack the 9. So you're trying to stack them vertically, but they can't have any overhang, and the tiles are weird shapes, so they all have holes in them and stuff like that. And then your scoring is multiplied by the height, like how high you got a tile, by the number. So if you got a 9 on the 3rd level, you multiply it by 2 because you don't count the 1st level, so you get 18 points, which is really good. I absolutely loved this game. It was really quick and clever. I think the scoring is too complicated or too long for what the game is, but overall, I had a great time playing it. It was a big hit at BGG Spring, so I'm very much looking forward to picking one up for myself. Number 4, The Climbers. I guess I'm sticking with abstract, colorful games. This is a game, I think it came out in Germany like 7 or 8 years ago, but it's finally making its way over here. In it, you're using these multicolored blocks, and you're stacking them vertically. I'm seeing a trend with number 9. And you have little climbers, and you're trying to get them to climb, but they can only go on blocks that are the same color as they are. So you have to like rotate the blocks, and they're all different colors on all different sides, and there's ladders to get up and all sorts of weird stuff. It looks awesome on a table because it's, you know, like stacked like, I don't know, 1.5 feet high, 2 feet high, with all these really colorful, weird, geometric, odd-shaped blocks. So yeah, very excited about this one finally making its way over. Number 3 is Ex Libris, coming from Renegade Games. Renegade Games is a studio that has been doing amazing work lately. I've talked to how much I absolutely love Sentient, that they sort of pre-released at Origins. That's another one that would have been on my list if I hadn't gotten it at Origins. But their games the production quality's great, the artwork's great, the mechanics are great, they're just doing great work. So definitely keep an eye on what Renegade's doing. So Ex Libris. This is a worker placement game. I've gotten to play the prototype a couple different times over several years, and I absolutely love it. You're building libraries, and you're trying to build these like weird fantasy libraries with these cards that have various books on them, and you get more points if the books are in alphabetical order, and then you get more points if your library, like your shelves, are a uniform shape. So it's got this little puzzle bit to it that's really cool, and there's tons of variable player powers. I don't know, probably like 10 or 15. There's tons of different characters where you can be the gelatinous cube that does one thing, or the wizard that does one thing. So it's got all these little things, and the worker placement spots are rooms, and they change each round. Like some of them stay behind, but most of them are new, so you're constantly like figuring out new combinations based on how those come out. It's really smart, really clever, feels very new and fresh for a worker placement game, which is pretty impressive. So yeah, I absolutely love this game. Number 2 is Photosynthesis. In this game, it's very beautiful. You're trying to grow trees from seeds and place them on this central board, but the sun is rotating around the board, and so you're also trying to block people from getting light from the sun to their trees, and you're trying to get the most light to your trees. So, you know, if the sun's coming this direction and I put a really tall tree in front of your short tree, it's going to block the sunlight from your tree. Or I want to get a really tall tree in the middle because it can always get sun from every angle type thing. I haven't played it. I've heard that it can get real cutthroat because you're like blocking off sun, but I love the theme. I love the execution with the like 3D tree miniatures that they have. So yeah, really beautiful game, really interesting theme, really excited about trying this one out. And my number 1 most anticipated game coming out at Gen Con 2017 is Wasteland Delivery Express. I think this was on my list last year because it wasn't clear whether they were demoing it or it was coming out, but they were just showing a really early prototype. So they've been working on this for a really long time. It's coming out from Pandasaurus Games. It is a pick up and deliver game set in sort of a Mad Maxian type post-apocalyptic world with, you know, all sorts of weird people and violence and all that kind of stuff. The production on this game is absolutely insane, where they have tons of plastic miniatures, tons of... The artwork is awesome, inspired, and kind of new for board games. Even the, like, setup, they come with plastic, like, molded, vacuum molded trays. So the setup of the game would have taken forever because you've got all these different chits and all that kind of stuff. But now it's just you take out, like, 2 or 3 trays and you're already good to go. So, like, that's an awesome thing I would love to see integrated into more games. The production level of this game is just absolutely nuts, especially considering it wasn't a Kickstarter, where a lot of times production can get really incredible on Kickstarter because they get a ton of money up front, but this was just a produced game. So obviously Pandasaurus Games really believes in it by putting all this time and money into it on the front end. So I'm really excited about checking this game out. I like pick up and deliver games a lot. I like when my Euro games get dressed up and they get to look sexy like Ameritrash games. So yeah, really, really excited about this one. Alright, that was my list. I hope that was helpful for you. I hope you discovered something you didn't know about or got a little bit more information on something you already did know about. Make sure you follow me on social media. I'm at Bryan Games on Instagram and Twitter. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. I do weekly news videos every single week where I cover the top 3 or 4 stories in board game news. They're short, 5 to 10 minutes, so you can kind of get in, get out, get all the info you need. Also, make sure you check out my Patreon. There's a link below. That's how I can do these videos, thanks to my very generous patrons, which is awesome. What games are you interested in? Like, write in the comments below if they were on my list or not on my list, what you were most interested in. That way it can help out everybody when they peruse the comments. And yeah, maybe I missed something. It's probably more likely on my top 50 list that I have on Board Game Geek. But yeah, so thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next week.